Greetings, land of YouTube. We had a 54% drop from the all-time high. That's lots of fun. I haven't made a video for a while. I wanted to get the big picture before I just turn the recorder on and spout emotion. Basically, I'm sure you already know, Elon Musk triggered to some people probably a catastrophic cascading event. Just real quick, before I get into what's likely to happen in the coming weeks and months, I want to talk about what's happened in the last couple of weeks. Is the way I see it is a combination of irresponsible YouTubers getting people into high leverage trading that shouldn't be doing it. No one should probably be doing it. Even professionals probably shouldn't be doing super high leverage trading. Just it's a combination of that. It's a combination of panic selling. And then we've got like JP Morgan and all the big banks coming in, all the traditional bankers. That's what Bitcoiners have wanted. They've wanted adoption, but this is what adoption might look like. A lot with all those types of people and organizations, institutions coming in, all their problems will also follow in, and they know how to control and manipulate stuff. And I'm not sure how this derivative exchange fits all into the big picture. No one really knows exactly how this is done. It could just be a cascading effect of people all jumping on the same boat at the same time, but it did seem kind of coordinated. Lots of FUD stories, fear, uncertainty, and doubt stories come out at the same time, and they pile on top of each other. It looks coordinated. It looks like collusion. It could be. I wouldn't doubt that there's some of that going on, but it could also just be experienced people. When that starts to happen, they just jump on it because there's money to be made, whether the market goes up or down. And for hodlers, of course, of Bitcoin, we all want it to go up. The good news is that these institutions can manipulate stuff. The bad news is they can manipulate stuff. The good news is why they're doing it is because eventually they can also drive it back up. And the thing about Bitcoin that makes Bitcoin different than basically any other asset is that it has a really small supply, and it'll never go over 21 million. Although I was saying that Bitcoin will probably never go under 50,000 again, right? I made a video like that where I was completely wrong. There's 50,000, give or take. And then I was saying, 47, 40, 45,000. I can't really, it's almost impossible for it to go into there. And looking at the numbers, we were running into a supply crisis, and that's what will make Bitcoin eventually go astronomical through the roof. When that supply crunch hits, there's like about 18.5 million Bitcoin available in the world. Lots of those have been lost. The majority of those are locked away forever. They're never going to see the light of day by people that invest long term. And so there was only like 1 to 2 million in liquid circulation, and I didn't understand. I still don't understand. It would probably take a mathematics professor to sit down over a week or two and figure it all out. So I'm not even going to attempt it. But the big picture I see is, it seems to me there's more Bitcoin being traded than there should be, and that's kind of the problems that come along with traditional bankers and traditional institutions. They create paper Bitcoin. It seems to me there's a lot more Bitcoin being traded than there should be. That might be part of it. But you throw those problems in, which Bitcoin will eventually take care of those problems, because the more people out there that hodl, even if you got $10, $100, if you buy Bitcoin and never do anything, just hold on to it, that eventually will eat up the supply, and there will be a supply crisis at some point in time. And there's not anybody on the planet. There's not anybody on the planet. There's not any institution on the planet that can stop that. When the supply gets super tiny, right? It'll become obvious if there's fake Bitcoin out there, and eventually that will come to an end. It's going to take another 100 years or so for all the last 2.5 million Bitcoin to be mined. and it's going to be a race, a competition, and it will drive the price up eventually. So it will drown out manipulation. That's the wonderful, cool thing about Bitcoin. It was invented because of these types of people, these types of institutions that can basically just do whatever they want. Bitcoin will put that to a stop, even though it probably won't be in, today or in the near future. It eventually will. But anyways, that being said, it's manipulated, so the price will eventually go back up. So that's good news. So Bitcoin's still a wonderful investment today. So yeah, a combination of all those problems that come along with traditional institutions adopting cryptocurrency, combined with these giant liquidations, right? These are high leverage liquidation longs being liquidated just over and over. And I saw this becoming a problem a few months ago. It's just nonstop, right? It's just, well, I can't get that line to stop drawing sometimes. But there's one, and here's some more. It's just over and over and over. And I have very little doubt a lot of that is because these YouTube channels, they make a lot of money off getting referral bonuses by getting their viewers to sign up and high leverage trade. So a lot of these real popular YouTube channels are doing a great disservice to Bitcoin. They're doing a great disservice to their community. When that happens, these liquidations, it also causes the new people to panic sell. They get scared to death. And can you imagine these people down here selling? There was people selling right here under $30,000 just a couple weeks ago, right? So there's people panic selling here. So I've been saying, don't panic sell. Please don't panic sell. If you want to sell, it's up to you. But wait until you're in profit. Bitcoin will come back up. I don't want to get too far off the subject here, but that's why you invest money. You don't need next week or next month, because if the price goes down, you just sit and wait for it to come back up. Okay, so the combination of problems with the big players, they come in, they can manipulate this, they can trigger this, and then there's the FUD stories. They can trigger these events and massive liquidations, massive panic selling. It's all a cascading event. And I didn't think it could happen based on the numbers I was seeing. We were on the verge of the beginning of the supply crunch, which is what could send us up to $500,000 million this cycle, which probably won't happen now. Bitcoin could still go to 3 or 4 or 500,000 this cycle. It's not out of the question. But if these liquidations keep happening, that will definitely slow it down. But also that could make it last longer. So who knows for sure what's going to happen. But in the immediate future, what we're dealing with here, you can see it better on the 1 hour. It's on the 4 hour as well. But what we're dealing with in the near future, the next week or two, is this right here. We've got a little triangle forming. There's a couple different places you could draw it, but it's all basically the same. I'll put it here, and then we could probably do something like this. All right, something about like that. We've got Bitcoin ranging in this triangle, see? And time is a factor that pushes the graph to the right. So eventually it's going to have to break down or break up. And when that happens, the big time day traders and stuff will jump in and put big orders in and drive the price up. I can't stop drawing. I'm not going to go back and edit this. I click the button and it doesn't stop drawing. or the price can be driven down, as we all know. We've been watching for the last month. Whoops, I didn't mean to get rid of that one. The reason why this technical analysis is so accurate sometimes isn't just because of some magic triangle and some magic Fibonacci levels. Fibonacci is pretty cool. That is proven to be a rather interesting building block, basically, in our world. But the reason why this technical analysis works so good for Bitcoin is because all the big time traders are watching this right here, right? And so when it starts to break out, they will all basically do the same thing. If I could get my line straight, they will all do the same thing. So what a professional trader will do. And I'm not even going to talk about using leverage and trading anymore to my viewers. I just recommend dollar cost averaging and just investing and just holding on. And if you do want to sell, don't do it until you're in profit. So what will happen is Bitcoin might kind of do something like this in this triangle, and then it'll come up here and it'll break out, but the big experienced people won't do anything until it comes back down. I mean, some people might enter there, but they like to see a retest and it bounces back off here. And right here is what they'll put the big trades in, and it'll do this, right? Or if it breaks to the downside like this, some will put their trades in there, but a lot of them will wait until it's retested, and when it starts to go like this, they'll put their shorts in and do something like that, right? So one of those two things is going to happen here in the next May 31st, June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd, maybe the 4th or 5th. I would expect it probably by June 3rd. It's going to be a breakout of some sorts. I keep erasing that. That's annoying. So if you want to watch something like that, but this was huge support. These right in through here. I'm really surprised to see that happen. It shouldn't have been able to happen as far as I can see, but I guess I underestimated the panic sellers, the new people that panic. I underestimated the people that continue to do over leverage long trades. I think there was like $8 billion is the number I heard. Right in through here. This isn't exactly perfect, but right in through here, maybe about $8 billion more dollars. And this was like a $10 billion one here. And just people getting mauled by over leveraging long trades. So I underestimated that. And then there's professionals in here now that can play off of that. They can cause it. They can trigger it. People put out bad stories that aren't true, and old stories that have been proven disproved 4 or 5 years ago. And it just keeps coming back out and blah, 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 blah. And it scares the death out of the new people. And I underestimated what that effect could do. But I'm still absolutely amazed. It fell below 45, 42. I didn't think that was going to be possible, but I underestimated the power of what can be done. These problems will eventually fade away in Bitcoin. Probably when it starts to bore people to death, and when the new people say, oh, it's a scam and I lost my money, and all those people leave or learn their lesson, and that starts to balance out, we will get a major pump. What I'm looking for in the next week or two is I think there's a chance that we could break all the way down to it could break all the way down to like 20,000. It won't stay there for long, but they call it a Wyckoff distribution, Wyckoff redistribution pattern. And I don't think it's something Bitcoin should do. I don't think Bitcoin would do that. But I think the people that manipulate actually can make it look like that's what it is. They can literally make it happen. So what might be happening is we might dump. There could even be a pump. It could pump up here. It's like 40,000, 41, 42, and then do it. That's too far down. It could look something like that, and come and hit 20,000, and then when if it does go down that far, it's going to have a spring effect and come back up. It could be very rapid. Don't look at the dates down here when I draw these lines. I'm just doing this to show what's going to happen in the next week or 2, 3, maybe month. It could do it now. It could kind of do something like this in here, and then it could break down. If it does go down there, it's probably not going to stay there long. Just a big V back up. So down here in this ballpark, if it goes down here, that might be a wonderful time to buy. And I strongly suggest people educate themselves and make their own decisions. That way, if you make a bunch of money, you can congratulate yourself. And if you lose money, you have no one to blame but yourself. I would say never listen to anyone on YouTube. Just get a bunch of information, do your own thing. But if that Wyckoff redistribution deal plays out, which I'm thinking might actually happen, it could look something like this, and then break out, retest, and quick could be, I mean, something like that, right? It could look a lot like this wick here. This is on the 4-hour chart. Huge wick, huge wick. This that's not impossible. It could come down here to 20,000. Could just bounce off 30,000. Could bounce here. Who knows for sure? This is not out of the question. I'm kind of leaning towards that might happen. As ridiculous and stupid as that sounds, anyone that follows Bitcoin knows that there's just major buying going on, huge institutional buying going on while we watch the price drop 54%. Basically, the little guy, the inexperienced little guy, is taking losses, and they're handing over their Bitcoin to the big guy who's going to sit and wait for the price to go up to $1 million in 5 years, $10 million in 10 years. You know, that's no guarantee. This is no guarantee. You could lose your money. That's why you don't risk money you can't afford to lose. And when you risk money you can't afford to lose, that means you can pay rent next month. And that means that you can never get hurt. You know, don't risk money that you can't afford to invest. That's what keeps you safe. That's what keeps you calm. You can just sit, you know, and wait for the price to come back up, which is going to happen. But anyways, I wish I had a bunch of money, because I would sit and I would wait. I would wait for the dip between 20, 25, 30,000. And if it went down to 20, I would, personally, I would back the truck up. But that's me. You do what you want. This is just for informational purposes. And Bitcoin's still the same Bitcoin. It's always been. Nothing's changed. It's only stronger. Only going to get stronger and stronger. But I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, thanks for watching.